So now I want you to tell me now, what is the biggest shift that you have made over the past 12 months to transform your life and business after being a coach for a decade?
Yeah, okay. Great question. So I feel like the biggest shift I made was stepping into a next level. And this might sound a little bit kind of ick and cliched, but I'll kind of qualify it in a moment. But stepping into another level of authenticity. And what I mean by that is letting go. And I think it's a work in progress and always will be, but maybe, but I feel like it's letting go of yet another layer of what I perceive for me personally is like the final frontier, which is that layer of people pleasing, like feeling like I have to be a certain way in order to stay safe, i.e., liked, approved of, not to upset anybody, not to disappoint people. So I would manipulate myself in order to stay safe in that way. So I think really about a year ago it was, I can remember the what happened, but just going through a period where I just completely up leveled in authenticity.
Well, I'd love to hear more about that too, because I know that I talk about people pleasing all the time with other
Mm.
guests and like my clients and my audience. And I feel like there's levels too, because some people maybe are just even understanding what people pleasing actually means.
Yeah.
But for people like us who probably have been aware of a people pleasing pattern for several years, what does it mean to to have the next level of releasing people pleasing?
Mm. Yeah, I think the next level, certainly for me, was really turning within and making discerning decisions based on what really felt good for me. So it was all about what my compass or guidance was when when it came to making decisions. So decisions about what my next move would be, decisions about whether I said yes or no to something, decisions about, a next big investment and whatever it was, even getting a tattoo. I got my first tattoo last year. And I'm almost 50 now, but I had my first tattoo. And there was a moment where I felt that contraction of like, oh my God, what would my dad say? What would people say? But it was discerning the difference and doing what felt really good to me, irrespective of what else was potentially at risk.
Yeah, yeah. And you were talking also about, I know you talk about following your bliss.
Mm,
And I think that that's really speaks to that as well, because I mean, if we're worried about if following our bliss means maybe other people might be upset, they might not like us or whatever that is, then we tend to just put that off, or we tend to um, rationalize why we're not doing it. And I know a lot of times, and myself included, have like I'm moving out of a paradigm where I feel like I have to do certain things in order for my business to be successful. And that doesn't include like what I want all the time.
yeah,
I enjoy,
yeah,
right? But
absolutely.
yeah, because tell me how, because I know you've like hit a whole new level of success by actually doing something that has nothing to do with your business.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's been completely transformational. And it's simply, I discovered a passion for performing arts. I went to an improv workshop and it was just a bit of fun. I just picked up, well, a friend gave me a leaflet and I went and I loved it. And then I went again to the next 8 week batch and signed on for the third 8 week batch. And it wasn't improv that I loved, it was the performing side of things. So I then found a drama or acting school, and so it kind of took me on this new trajectory that has unlocked so much bliss. I love it. But what it did, like even with I found a 2 week workshop, and I subsequently signed up with the school and did a year long, and that now I'm doing my diploma with the same school. And I'm not kidding, Nico, in the month that I did this 2 week workshop, every night I was there, sort of in the evening for a few hours. And I came home every night. I was tripping. I was so happy. And that month I made 30K. And for 2 of those weeks, I wasn't even working. But it was like it had unlocked something. It was tremendous. And it was almost like I'd found this key, this code that, oh my goodness, when you're so in bliss and so operating at that level where you are doing what you love, there's no resistance. There's no need to prove, or there's no need to perform or push or any of those for anybody else. It becomes just complete authenticity, like so aligned with what you love to do. And that started to feed into all other areas of my life and business. It was such a phenomenal shift.
I think that's brilliant. And I would love to hear, because if you could speak to some of my audience that they're just getting started in their coaching business,
Yeah.
whatever modality they use, right? But
Yes.
but they're being told, focus on getting your business started, things that move the needle, and they're like really struggling with even just getting the business up and running. So I think the idea of like doing something that's not that, it's like that's a paradox. Like
Yes.
what would you say to them?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think I was the same. I mean, tied to our laptops 24/7, frightened to take a break, frightened to take time away in case, we were losing hours, or, the need to make money was so visceral, so strong. But it puts you in a state of need. And obviously when you're in that needy state, you're coming from an energy of, I need it because I don't have it. So you're always in that vibrational frequency of fear. Fear is running the show. So it's really connecting to the idea that when you are doing something else, you are giving your subconscious space, and the subconscious needs space to process information, to calibrate, to attract those ideas, those inspirations. So it's really important to give yourself space and do something that lights you up, that fills your cup, as well as business, because business should be fun. Business is supposed to be, it's a really rewarding and fulfilling experience, and it's one of the most uplifting things you can do. But we forget that because the paradigm is that you have to work so hard and hustle and grind. But I think being able to love what you do in your business and balance it with doing something else, knowing that whatever else you're doing, it is part of the strategy. And I had this experience. It was 2.5 years ago. I was really struggling. I'd made the decision with the acting, and I loved it. And then I started to slip back a bit into my old paradigm, and I was burning out. And because I was trying to do it all and at 100 miles an hour. My coach at the time, I mean, she was phenomenal. And she was like, looked me in the eye and she said, bliss is part of the strategy. And this woman's multiple seven figures. Bliss is part of the strategy. And that became a mantra for me. It really resonated. And I just thought, you have to make bliss part of the strategy, because it's everything. It's everything. Your energy, your alignment, your joy, your ability to operate out of stress. When you're in stress, you can't think clearly. That's why they call it, cotton wool brain when you're in stress. So it's really keeping that balance.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. And then I hear you talk about how your coach told you that. And I think about, and maybe not everyone listening knows that you were my first coach, and years ago. And if I hadn't have come to you and I've been already, like I joke and say I was stalking you on Facebook for 2 years before I actually worked with you. And if I hadn't have been listening to you talk about, create nailing your niche and getting real clear on who you're serving.
Yeah.
And I went through that experience of, resisting getting real clarity on a niche, and then
Yes.
working with you. I would say, because a lot of my clients that are starting coaching business, like they ask me all kinds of questions, and I'm always saying, well, my coach told me this in the beginning. And she told me that, like, if by deciding who you're working with, your niche is not like fixed, it's not fixed, because you evolve as you change and grow, you evolve, your niche evolves with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But people are so scared to just get
Commit.
specific in the moment and like commit to something. And I know that both of us, we've been coaching for a decade. Could you speak to that, like in your own journey, how you've gone from different niches and you've evolved over the past decade and where you are now? Like, just so we can be inspired.
Yeah. So there's something I just want to insert in there in terms of, I think when it's being clear on your unique gift, that's the piece that is your unique gift, is the thing that you do in only the way that you can do it. And everyone has a unique gift, and it's often revealed through what lights them up or what their struggles have been. The struggle reveals what your unique gift is, because those struggles always are trying to help you hone your gift ultimately. So the gift, knowing what your gift is and being able to serve using your gift, puts you in that place of real alignment and power, I think, when you know exactly what it is you do. The fact is that as you grow in your own journey, you up level constantly. So your ideal client evolves with you. When I started out, my background was sales, so I was helping brand new coaches fresh out of the gate who were just like me. I was a brand new coach fresh out of the gate, but I had the sales background, so I could use that and combine that to support other new coaches. As I evolved and got more experience and understood, this is how to create a high ticket offer, I did that for myself. I hired a coach to help me. I was then able to relay that knowledge and my own learnings to the whole process and create my own way of crafting a high ticket offer. So as you grow, as you go through the journey, you learn more information, you go deeper in your own healing and development. So you're always up leveling. Nothing stays the same. Even your stuckness and lack of clarity is temporary, but it's appreciating that it's temporary rather than saying, I'm so stuck, because that's what we do, isn't it? We tell the story that reinforces the story and then keeps us in the story. So knowing that everything is temporary, that you're a moving entity, that you're always evolving and kind of expanding. And sometimes there'll be a bit of contraction whilst you grow and evolve, and then you come back out and you're more expanded. So it is, I'm doing this with my hands. I know people can't really see, but there's like this, I don't know, how would you describe this, Nico? It's like this kind of nebulous breathing entity that is your business. And you've got to allow it to breathe and grow. And it's just trusting the process, loving this baby, growing it, nurturing it, trusting the process. And I'll tell you, a mistake I made a lot was every time I went through to like a period where I was up leveling and I didn't know it, what it looked like was business has ceased. Oh my God, where are my clients? It's like the universe had turned the tap off and my client flow ceased, the cash flow ceased. I was freaking the hell out. So my mistake was not recognizing that it was calling me to grow and evolve, but instead I would backpedal like crazy, and I would start looking at what used to work, trying to get like almost go backwards to find what worked before. And of course, that's the biggest mistake, because all of that is redundant now. So it's trusting that when things start to feel a bit painful and things stop working, you're being called to grow. And it's trusting that as long as you really just letting go, surrendering to the process, having fun, doing other stuff that lights you up, you'll always keep moving forward. I wish I knew this 10 years ago.
I know, right? But and it also occurred to me while you were just talking there in that beautiful flow, was that, this whole idea of being able to identify your unique gift,
Yes.
that part of it, like, I think that what is in the way of that is people pleasing, because I've seen it so many times with clients, because like I'll be working with clients to help them get clear on that. And what will keep coming up, the resistance that keeps coming up is, well, yeah, but will people want that? Well, yeah, but will people pay for that? Well, you know, and it's this, what's under that to me is a people pleasing energy.
100%. Yes, yes. And also what I find is the reason that you're unable to get that clarity, as you've said, is the people pleasing. Another thing I notice is it's that fear of, it's the thing that you were told made you too much or not enough. So that gift that you displayed as a little one in childhood, that you displayed so uninhibited and freely, whatever it was, however it manifested as a little one, you were told or you picked up the belief that it made you too much or not enough. Therefore, you've worked for years and years to push it down and hide it and not access that part of you because it offended others or upset others or it got disapproval. So 100% Nico, it is another layer of that people pleasing block. It's phenomenally insidious, really.
Yeah, and you know, and then even just bringing in the inner child work right there in that moment,
Yeah,
right, is like describing how your magical child part of self is
yeah,
the one that has this gift. And then when we've been, you know, traumatized and we've got all these limiting beliefs that block that gift because of what we've been told, or because of what we told ourselves. Sometimes it's not even,
yeah,
people think it has to be some big T trauma, terrible thing that happened. But what I've seen over and over and over in sessions with clients, more often than not, is it's our response to something in our external world. And we tell ourselves something to cope. We just
yeah,
do it because children can't think, they can't process that. They think in black and white, they think in very
yeah,
concrete terms. So they'll just decide, you know, well, it's me, well, it's this, it's that. And they create a limiting belief about it that just follows them through their life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, I remember having a session with you not so long ago, and I was in tears when I you connected me to something where that I had not used my voice. I think it was something along those, and I remember just crying, and I felt that inner child wanted to scream with like anger that, oh my, I've stifled my voice for so many years, and even in the last sort of 10 years of being visible in my business, there was still a holding back. And I think that that's very common. You know, we're showing up, we're doing the thing, but there is still a part of us where it might take 70 takes to record a 10-minute video. Nobody sees the 70 takes and the 2 hours that it took to create a 10-minute video. But that was certainly my experience. The fear of it not being perfect, the need to get it right and make sure that there was no risk of anyone criticizing me because it, you know, I had to make something flawless to stay in that sort of safe zone and be approved of. And oh, it really does hurt your business and your life.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I'd waited until I felt perfect and it was safe, I never would have started.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I think you could agree, we still come up against that all the time. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
go away.
No. Well, there's the saying, isn't it? New level, new devil. And but I think it's how we navigate it and handle it now that is more evolved and mature. Not to say it was an immature way of handling it, but we know it for what it is, and we recognize it for what it is. I very rarely get fully taken down now to my I don't you know I to get so sucked into the talk and the feeling of fear and all of that rarely happens now. But it's, you know, it's still there, but it's being able to handle it in a whole new way.
Right. It's the resilience, and it just,
Yeah.
it doesn't trigger us as much.
Yeah, yeah, it's just being super aware that it's here. Hello.
So we've been speaking to more coaches that are just getting started, but What would you say to coaches who've been in business for a while and, you know, maybe they're hitting that plateau, or they're at capacity and they want to up level or scale? What would you say to them around this topic?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. And I think they've reached a level of success, but if they've hit that they're hitting an upper limit, they're repeating the same results, they can't seem to break through, or as you say, they're hitting a plateau, it really isn't more strategy or more pushing harder or working harder or a new plan or any of that that is required, because they already have all the tools, the knowledge, all of that is there. But I think this is an invitation for a next level of healing. So as the work you do, Nico, that inner child healing, really clearing stuff at the root now. It's a call to up level, and an up level is never, I want to say, it's never pretty, it's never really comfortable. It requires you to face that next monster, and really go deep. I think it becomes more of a spiritual strategy than physical, practical strategy as you up level.
Oh yeah, totally. It's totally
Yeah.
spiritual. But you know what? And I know a lot of times we talk about how painful things are with up leveling, and it's messy, it's painful. But the truth is, I'll just tell you, I would choose that any day
Yes.
over like not being in this business and working for myself and seeing the transformation that clients get. Like what I was doing before that, it wasn't bad, but I would never trade it for what I have now.
Yeah, 100%. There've been moments where I've looked at people who are a bit bubbling along in their 9 to 5, and I'm thinking, you have no idea. I wish I was you. But the reality is, no way. This is so much more enriching and fulfilling, and yeah, and working with the people in the way that we do, it's just there are no words really. It's amazing.
Yeah, and what's more painful for people like us, it's to not pursue this path.
Yeah,
That's the most painful thing, is to not actually realize that potential when that's your calling. Because some people, that's not their calling, right? I mean, they're fine.
yeah,
Like they have a job, a career, 9 to 5, it's fine for them. It's
yeah,
fulfilling. But people like us that have this like deep, intense calling to do this, to not allow yourself to move into it and even to fail at it,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's too painful to not try.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's, I know for myself and for you, 10 years in this business requires a medal. Because I think, the fact that we're still here, it is a calling. It is a calling. And if it wasn't, we wouldn't still be here because of the nature of the journey. We wouldn't, you wouldn't voluntarily put yourself in this container. However, it's because it's a purpose driven calling, that there is no other path. So anything else is not, it is worse, as you said. You would give anything. Wouldn't trade anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for being here and having this beautiful
Thank you,
conversation
Nika.
with me. And I don't have to tell you how much I love you and how much
Oh,
I
right back
admire
at you.
you. Thank you so much for being here and for being you and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Nico. It's been amazing. I love you so much.
Bye.